In today's video, I'm going to take you through the workflow that enables you to create 3D anaglyph videos in Final Cut Pro using these GoPro cameras. It's very easy to do with good results, but first you need some equipment. Easily stuffable. The same mount you get in the box. First you need some 3D red cyan glasses. These are plastic and so are quite robust. I do recommend that you get plastic glasses like these, as you will be using them to fine tune the merging of the left and right film clips. You can get these cheap on Amazon. Get 2 GoPro cameras. They can be any version, though I do recommend that you do try to get 2 GoPros of the same model. These are 2 Hero 5 cameras. Creating 3D film using different model GoPro cameras can still work, though you will likely have to do some extra work as it's a little harder to balancing the footage so the left and right clips have exactly the same focal characteristics. Even these 2 Hero 5 cameras I have here do not give exactly the same footage, which I found surprising, both in colour but also subtly in the differences in their lenses, which we do not want. So if you do use 2 Heroes of the same model, this will greatly help with the creation of the 3D illusion. Next up is something to hold the 2 GoPros together, like this. The reason one of the cameras is upside down is so the 2 lenses can be closer together. While our eyes are about 60mm apart, studies have shown to produce successful 3D anaglyph illusions, the best distance is between 6mm and 30mm. Bigger than that, and the distance is too great between the left and right images for your brain to assimilate and bring the images together, especially when there are differences in those 2 lenses. I found during my experimentation that actually having a smaller left and right separation distance, the better the illusion is. Less the better, which does seem a little bit counterintuitive, which is why later you'll see in the manipulation of the left and right image clips, I actually try to reduce that separation. In this 3D printed dual camera rig, the lenses are close as they can be, which is 28mm apart. Now it is important that whatever apparatus you use to bring 2 GoPros together, the lenses must be aligned and parallel to each other. Any misalignment will make it difficult to bring the 2 images together, introducing separation and ghosting. Before I purchased this dual camera rig, I held the 2 cameras together like this. The final bit of equipment I use is the GoPro Smart Remote. This is used to control the 2 cameras so they act as one camera, both start and stop recording at the same time. If you do not have a remote, do not worry. I will show you how to sync the left and right video channels so that the frames line up. I will leave links to where you can find the 3D glasses and this 3D camera rig in the description below. As well as the alignment of the lenses, the other important thing to do is to ensure the 2 GoPros produce the same footage, and that means both the cameras must have the same settings. In my experimentation to produce good 3D video, I found that any camera settings can be used as long as it's consistent across both cameras. Do not use any settings with the setting set to auto, as we do not want the cameras to work independently of each other. This is especially important for any stabilization settings. They must be switched off. For example, if you set the ISO for the left camera to be 400, then the right camera needs to have the same setting too. As you can see here on these 2 cameras, I have settings set at 2.7K, 30 frames per second with linear lens. This I find gives me the 3D anaglyph video I want at HD resolution, while not causing the large work overhead for the computer. Remember, any work you do in post-edit is being done to 2 clips in parallel at the same time. Finally, when recording, like with any filming, do try to film in the best lighting conditions you can, as it produces the video with the least distraction and allows that final video to be more immersive. Also, try to keep the cameras horizontal if you're moving the rig around, otherwise this will affect the final results too. We also need to ensure that when we bring the left and right eye film clips together as one, the same frames match up. A handy tip I have found so not to get the left and right camera footage mixed up is to first label the cameras left and right, and when removing the SD cards, keep them separate and put on a sheet of paper putting those SD cards down left and right when not in the card slot. I've taken some video I produced earlier from the 2 cameras and imported them into left and right eye camera footage folders in my scrap folder here. Not to cause any confusion, when editing and browsing in Final Cut Pro, I rename all the left camera clips to become so, and I do the same for the right camera clips. I now open up the project and import the left and right folders into my event named Raw. This video project is just an ordinary 2D project set to HD resolution video at 30 frames per second. Okay, we are ready to create the first 3D anaglyph clip. Take the first pair of left and right clips and drop them on the timeline. Open up the color Luma graph. For each we check and adjust the exposure settings so they are both within limits. Generally with my cameras they are never within limits, so I always have to bring up the shadows and bring down the highlights. Now for each clip I add a color curve. The left film clip corresponds to the left eye in these glasses. The left eye is red, so this means we have to remove all the green and blue colours from the left film clip, so only red remains. Go to the color curve board, scroll down and first select the green curve and bring it down to 0. Now do the same with the blue component and bring that down to 0 too. The right film clip corresponds to the blue lens, or the cyan lens in these glasses. So we need to remove all the red colour from all the right side clips, leaving only cyan. The cyan colour is made up of equal amounts of blue and green in the image. Now we need to bring the clips together to make the one 3D anaglyph clip. To do this we take the right hand clip and put it on top of the left hand clip. With the right film clip selected, change its colour type from normal to add. With the timeline cursor over the two clips, we immediately see the 3D anaglyph version of the two clips combined. We have now produced our first 3D anaglyph clip, but before we put on the 3D glasses to see the result we need to do one more thing, and that is check that the right and left clips frames are aligned. You'll remember that I said earlier, for each recording try to make a clap-like sound, a sound spike. This is where we use the clap sound spike to help us move the right clip over the left clip to align the two clips' spike sounds. Doing this ensures the frames in each video clip are aligned too. Now we could leave this 3D clip as finished and move on to the next pair of clips, but unfortunately depending on the chosen cameras and your dual 3D camera rig, I have found further adjustments need to be made to refine the outcome to make a better 3D illusion. So let me take you through the adjustments I made to the 3D clip so it can be the best it can be. This is where we now use the 3D glasses to help us make the adjustments a lot easier to carry out. Now the aim with every adjustment is to minimise visual crosstalk which we see between the right and left hand clips and maximise clarity of focus. Before I go any further, let me just say you are now entering the verge of a rabbit hole. The following adjustments can reach a point where further adjustments fix one thing yet undo previous adjustments. So you can easily start chasing your own tail very quickly without realising it. With that in mind, let us refine the left and right hand clips so we can see if we can get a better 3D illusion. So what we're trying to do is make the adjustments to compensate for the different GoPro lenses and lens alignment in this rig. This is why having two cameras with the same lenses, same settings, and hopefully the best alignment we can is so important for getting good results. Minimising these variables, fixing those parameters makes for less work and better 3D. With the glasses on, the first thing I do is pick a point in the clip where the object I want to focus on is clear and in the centre of the screen, roughly halfway between the nearest object and the furthest object I see in that scene. I generally bias any object focus to be slightly nearer to me than halfway. If all is good, we should not see any ghosting of the object, but a good sharper 3D illusion about it. But it is also likely we perhaps are only seeing a partial improvement. So what I do now is move the right clip film to the left to reduce the ghosting about the object. You can make small adjustments vertically to help with this, but this should not be required if the two cameras were kept horizontal when recording and are perfectly aligned with each other in the rig. Now again, in the ideal world, if your rig was perfect, the rest of the image around the object you were just working on would all be brought into focus, everything would be aligned and there would be no ghosting. But as I found out, this rig is not perfect. The lenses are not perfectly parallel, pointing off into infinity. They're ever so slightly converging or diverging. So the next set of adjustments to be made are there to reduce the alignment artifacts of the two clips as best as we can. To help me make these adjustments, I will use the Final Cut Pro effect plugin called Andy's Better 3D. It is available from FX Factory for free. I have the effects plugin here and I will drop it onto both the right clip and the left clips. Focusing on the right clip first, what I want to do is adjust the parallel plane on which the R clip now sits with respect to the left clip's plane underneath, so we bring other parts of the image into focus. The first adjustment I make is in the y-axis. I will rotate the right hand clip plane about the y-axis in the centre of the screen. You only need to make very small adjustments. Concentrate on the nearest objects to the camera and their vertical edges on the right hand side of the image. Now ideally this should also work for objects in a distance beyond your central object. Now, this could be the moment you start chasing your tail, making further adjustments. So be patient when you think you're starting to repeat yourself. If you do, just stop. And it's probably on the point of diminishing returns anyway. What we just tried to do was compensate for the misalignment of the two lenses in the vertical axis. To compensate for the misalignment of the two lenses in the horizontal axis, we go back to each clip and adjust the planes by tweaking the plane's rotation now in the x-axis. Again, I concentrate on the objects closest to the camera and the edges horizontal to those objects. I also make changes where there's only visible improvements. The last axis to look at is the z-axis. This will rotate one image plane with respect to the other. If your dual camera rig is a good one, then it's unlikely you need to make these adjustments in the z-axis. Okay, now that we are happy with this clip, we can combine the right hand clip with the left hand clip and make it a compound clip. With a compound clip, we can make the final colour and exposure adjustments to bring them in line with our final requirements. With this clip now finished, we'll repeat the process for the next clip. So that is it on how we can create a 3D anaglyph video from today's GoPro Hero cameras. Quite straightforward once you have a suitable dual rig that is robust and easily repeatable. I started this project earlier last year and I plan to make a mountain bike video using the same camera rig. So do subscribe to see how it hangs out. It looks promising. If you want to see that, do subscribe to be sure not to miss it. Of course, if you like this video, then please do give it a thumbs up. And I would love to hear how you make your 3D anaglyph videos, how you can make that process more efficient. So please do let me know down in the comments below. Until then, keep safe, keep well, and I'll catch up with you guys next time.